I bring a sort of all the rules are made up vibe to everything that neurotypicals don't really like. Because then they'll just get super mad at you for asking question. It's like someone made up this rule, but why? What was the reason? Why is this rule in place? Not to be rude, but they always seem to think we are, just to know why we have to do a thing a certain way. Because chances are y'all's rules aren't really gonna make sense. And then they're just pressed that you don't vibe with the rules without knowing why they're in place in the first time, you know? Hello BabyQueers and welcome back to my channel. We're doing neurodivergent memes again. Because why wouldn't we? Really? But either way, you know the deal. Before we continue, you're gonna get hydrated. So grab some water, or some tea, or whatever else you like to drink, and then we'll continue. Are you hydrated? Good. Let's go. That actor looks familiar. I wonder what else they've been in. Most people, yeah, I'm not sure. Autistic ADHD me immediately grabs my phone, googles the character's name, and finds the actor's names, look at their wiki page or IMDb page, and starts listing every role they've played. Bonus points if you actually pause the movie for it and the other person gets mad. Or the other person's also like, wait, no, I know I recognize them. Please tell me where I recognize them from. And then you like go through the list together to be like, wait, did you maybe watch this movie? Because I haven't watched this, but I watched this movie, that's where I know them from. You know? But if you watch movies with like neurotypical people, they'll either get mad at you for not paying attention because you're Googling, or get mad because you paused. To just be like, you just watch the movie. Like, it's okay if you Google this later, but it's absolutely not okay. You're not going to be able to focus on the movie anyways. My emotional cup feels half empty. Wait, I have something that'll help. Liquid stress. Brain, how does that help? That's not helping. This is really not helping, because yeah, then the emotional cup will be full. But half of it, if not most of it, because stress has this thing where it touches other things and they become stressed too, you know? So the cup will just be emotional stress in liquid, which really doesn't help. Brain, you know, you could have just either left it half empty or find something else, really. The liquid stress isn't helping. Hey, I'm sorry I stopped in the middle of that sentence. My brain decided to flush its cache and I totally forgot what this conversation was. But why does our brain like doing that? Literally, in the middle of a sentence. Like, it's bad enough in a normal conversation, but imagine you're trying to have an argument with someone, but you completely forgot where you were going. Why? My brain also likes doing this when I call someone at work. Like, sometimes it's fine, but like, then I call them and they pick up and I'm just like, yes. I called because, I don't know, give me a second to look through all my open windows to find out if maybe it'll be somewhere to remind me. Brain, why? Like, that's one of the things I could very easily live without, you know? Although it's by far not the most frustrating thing. Why I didn't text you back? I was asleep, I was driving, I was ignoring you, I forgot. I saw your text and told myself that I was going to respond, but I wanted to finish what I was doing first. After that, I got sidetracked and went to do something else and completely forgot your text even existed, because I was stuck in my own tiny world, until I went to text you back days or even weeks later about something completely unrelated and noticed I hadn't answered your previous text, because, well, I opened it and then the notification was gone, and then I didn't see it anymore. My bad. I'm sorry, but it will definitely happen again. Literally, because you're just like, you're so caught up in what you're doing. And then just like, yeah, no, I gotta finish this, because otherwise I will forget what I'm doing. And then just be annoyed that it isn't done, because I forgot to finish it. So I have to finish this fast. And then you see something else and get sidetracked. And this happens. Too many times, really, but oh well. Hey dog, why do I have digestive issues? It's most likely due to your autism. Okay, but like, Why? Why? Because yeah, technically your gut and your brain are very like closely connected, but why? Why did it, like, autism, just like brain-wise, especially when it comes to relating to other people and having to be with other people, would already be tricky enough. But y'all had to throw digestive issues on top of that? Random tummy aches that you don't know where they come from? Feeling bloated for no reason? You really had to, didn't you? My god. The never-ending story as a kid versus the never-ending story as an adult. Yeah, honestly, it's either the laundry, because it's either like dirty because you haven't washed it yet, or you washed it and you hung it somewhere to dry, and then it's still there like 2 weeks later because you haven't bothered to put it away because you see it and you're just like, yeah, no, I'll do that, but I gotta finish this fast. And then by that time, the dirty laundry is also piled up again. But what's maybe even worse, for me personally at least, is the dirty dishes. Because you have things you can just put in the dishwasher, and then it's kind of fine. But then it's full, and you turn it on. But then you don't empty it out immediately, because you open it so it dries. But it's still there and clean. But you haven't put them away yet, because you don't want to. Or you just also got sidetracked again. But then there's like also dirty dishes. Because they're like, no, but I have to make food first. I really have to eat first, otherwise I'm gonna combust. And then there's like things that can't go in the dishwasher anyways, and then they're just standing there. Honestly, the dishes one is way worse for me somehow than laundry. Some of my favorite euphemisms I've said about my ADHD without actually saying I have ADHD. Clinically unobservant. A brain doesn't know how to shut up. I'm a magician in that I can make anything disappear forever. Newton's first law to the extreme. My last brain cell is doing the Macarena. Out of sight, out of mind, but inside might not make it to the mind either. A person you can trust to not tell a secret because I won't remember. My thoughts are flying balls and I can't juggle. 0.5 gig of RAM. If you have any more fun things you like to call your ADHD without actually saying I have ADHD, feel free to leave in the comments, because I don't know what I say. I like pulling the head full of bees, because that's just kind of what it feels like, you know, just like tiny millions of little things just flying around in your head in random directions, and you know, they're doing the little bee dance, but you don't know how to interpret the bee dance, so you don't know what your brain is trying to tell you. That's kind of my favorite one, but these are just funny. People with ADHD, do you find ASMR satisfying? I personally find them absolutely repulsive. I finally tried a few times and I literally yanked my headphones out and threw them away. Yeah, like some is fine. Like kind of tapping or something is, I don't want to do it right now. But like, it's usually fine. It's not like pleasing to me whatsoever, but it's fine. But like scratching or something? No. No. Like eating or drinking ASMR? Way worse. That's probably the worst one for me, which is why if I have to eat with other people, we literally have to watch things. I don't care how many neurotypicals tell me that watching stuff while eating is unhealthy. I am going to lose my shit if we're not. It just, I can hear you eating. And it's making me unbelievably angry. And irritated. And I know you have to eat, I'm not coming for it. But I am coming for not watching something. Because then I can maybe get my brain to focus solely on that. To not hear the eating, or it's gonna be loud enough to not hear you eating. You know, yeah, no. One very cute thing my autistic boyfriend does is needing to know timeframes for everything. When is X happening? How long will X take? Sir, I have ADHD, so any answer that I give you is going to be distressingly inaccurate. It's also cute because he will share temporal information with me, so I have a meeting at 1 tomorrow. It takes 40 minutes to drive there. It happened in February 2013, etc. Like, I'm not capable of understanding or integrating that information, but I appreciate him trying. Okay, I know I keep saying, like, maybe living with or having other neurodivergent people around might be easier, because you will definitely be able to understand each other. To a degree, probably better than neurotypicals can, but this is just a funny example of how exactly it will not work. But then again, if you tell neurotypicals any temporal information, it's like, oh yeah, 40 minutes, you know, like we should really get going. Like you have 50 minutes till we need to leave. But they're just like chill about it. As long as they don't have anxiety, because then they're probably also gonna be like ready to go like way earlier than they need to, you know? Yeah. Reasons I like subtitles. I can see how people's names and the cities and countries are spelled. I don't miss any words, so everything they say makes sense. I get to know what background noises and conversations are. The description of noises people make are freaking awesome. For example, splutter, grunt, chuckles. I can say who says what. I don't have to have the volume super loud so I can hear the dialogue, and I don't blow my eardrums out because the ambient noises and music is so freaking loud. I freaking love subtitles. Okay, listen, if you're this passionate about subtitles, and you don't know you're autistic yet, I might have some news for you, because I cannot watch things without subtitles. Listen, like sure, I understand English, I understand German. Can I watch anything without subtitles? Absolutely not. Like it doesn't even matter. Like I liked excusing it with the app, because then when I'm eating and I can still catch everything going on over like my eating sounds, you know? And kind of true, because if you're eating something, especially if it's like kind of crunchy, you're gonna miss things if you don't have subtitles. But even if I'm just sitting there quietly, or like quietly playing with Stim Toy or the other, I still need my subtitles. I just need them at any given time. Don't release things without subtitles, come on. That ADHD thing, when you're tired but you're too bored to sleep, is so fricked up. Because then your brain will be super irritated because it didn't get enough sleep. It's a little bit like when toddlers or babies don't want to go to sleep, but it's so obvious that they just need to sleep to feel better, but they're just super grumpy because they don't know that. They don't know that they just really need sleep. It's a little bit like that. Because your brain, you're just like talking to your brain, it's just like, bro, you just need sleep. Just go to sleep. You'll feel better, I promise. But your brain's like, no sleep. Too bored, too grumpy, too something. Why? Just why? Okay, so when Peter Parker gets sensory overload, he has Spidey senses. But when I do it, I have autism? You both have autism. Hope this helps. Well, yeah. I mean, in your case, it's definitely because of autism. And no, calling like your sensory sensitivities or something Spidey senses isn't necessarily gonna help. Like, people might think it's funnier, but I don't know if they're more willing to listen to you telling them your sensory needs to be like, no, I can't deal with this, like my Spidey senses are going off. I'm not sure if that actually like helps them understand or accept them as like actual things you experience versus if you just have sensory issues. I'm not sure, but good luck, I guess. I have ADHD, so I'm immune to podcasts. I can only be podcasted when I'm being debuffed by a hand activity. That is a good point, actually. I always thought that it was crazy how other folks with ADHD couldn't focus on podcasts when I was totally immune from that issue. Then quarantine happened and I stopped driving long distances every day, and you will never freaking believe what I learned I can't do. But this, like, I can't drive without music. I mean, podcasts I think would probably be fine, but like, I can't drive in silence. Just no. Because my brain will be so bored out of my mind that I'm gonna be less focused on the street because it's just going off somewhere. But same like the other way around, I can't just sit somewhere and listen to music, because if I listen to music, I'm gonna like start singing along or like kind of stim dancing to it. Or I just like pull the music out to be able to do other things, you know, just like to clean the dishes. But sitting somewhere and listening to someone talk, like a podcast, would probably be way harder for me than to sit still listening to music. Because I might be able to sit still, but still be drifting off and not listen to a single word you just said. You know, just know, podcasts, not really immune to it, but I have to be debuffed by a hand activity. That car behind me when I'm driving at night. But why does it literally feel like this? Because I don't get how people can't, and people think I'm crazy because even if I drive during the day, because most cars have the lights on during the day now, I will still complain that it's too bright and that they're blinding me, and people will look at me like, it's bright outside, literally, like it's not that bright, it's okay, but it is. And it's not just that, oh, it's too bright, I can't see, because it literally hurts. But my absolute brilliant brain sometimes refuses to recognize that things actually hurt, but then is later super grumpy because, well, things hurt. And guess what? You don't like being in pain, so you're obviously gonna get grumpy. It's a great combination, really, but at night, way worse. I love driving at night because there are less people around driving really weirdly, but this is the really big downside to driving at night. I think, therefore, I cannot sleep. I mean, it kind of ties in with the I'm too bored to sleep, because if you're bored, your brain's also gonna go off on tangents or whatever. You know, because even if you don't tend to like overthink your mistakes or everything that went wrong, you're still not gonna be able to sleep because you're thinking about other stuff. It might be better, at least, than like going over your mistakes again and again, but it's still not gonna let you sleep. Neurotypicals giving verbal instructions to me. And then they kind of just like look at you like they just gave you like a simple, normal, just like one traffic light of, hey, do this thing or do this thing, but don't do this thing. And they don't see that they just describe this, because in their head it's just like, it looks super simple. Yeah, do not explain to me. Like, someone explained to me, oh, like, yeah, you have to drive here, and then you take a right there, and then you take a left there, and then you go straight for... Bro, I'm gonna get lost. I'm gonna get lost. When the brain fog hits, sometimes I'll start a sentence and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way. Yeah, sometimes my brain's just absent and I'm trying to talk and I'm just hoping I make sense. You know, because either my brain drifts off in the middle of the sentence, or I'm just too tired to focus at all, really, or just like exhausted from sensory overload or something to focus, and I'm just hoping I still make sense. Sometimes it works, I guess. And on July 1st, 1867, Canada. Okay, July 1st, 1867. Honeydew, stop doodling and pay attention. Sit up straight and look forward. Now, as I was saying, sit up straight and look forward. Sit up straight and look forward. I'm not retaining anything the teacher is saying. But literally this. It's the same with, like, honestly, like, chewing gum was forbidden at our school. Like, you weren't allowed to in class. I still did, constantly. Sometimes I would get away with it, sometimes I wouldn't, because I, like, didn't remember to chew, like, unnoticeably. But, like, stimming, in a way, I guess, with, like, just chewing gum. Because it's not a hand activity, but it still helps you to be focused. Like, I wasn't able to do that a lot of the time. People, like, sitting next to me got mad if I was, like, bobbing my leg or something. You know, still not a hand activity, but still debuffs you, you know? Or just, like, playing around with pens or something. But the whole, oh, just sit up straight and look forward, it's only respectful. Well, what do you mean? Like, hey, as long as I'm not being, like, super loud and distracting everyone else, what do you really care? Same with, like, chewing gum. Like, the people who just, like, chew gum to be disrespectful and just, like, were popping the gum super loud or something, sure. I get it. Like, as soon as someone does that, you're allowed to tell them to take the gum out. But why are neurotypical people, you know? Autistic people may be misread as negative or pessimistic for pointing out concerns or dangers, but often we're just neutrally stating the facts as we see them without judgment, criticism, or emotion. When we do this, our intention is to help, not to judge, criticize, or emote. Yeah, but people will still be pressed at it. It's just like, why do you always have to be so negative? Because I'm trying to make a good decision and pointing out, hey, before we make this decision, we should consider everything. And chances are, you didn't just point out, okay, this could go wrong. You also pointed out things that could go right, you know, or like something that like is gonna come out of this that's gonna be positive. But they're just gonna hear the negative because you pointed out, hey, this might go terribly wrong. And they're just like, yeah, don't be so pessimistic. I'm just trying to be realistic here, but y'all apparently don't. Okay, sure. When someone gives me feedback, but my ADHD brain struggles to distinguish between valid feedback and someone being angry or mean. And I took that personally. Yeah, because sometimes it's hard. And then it really doesn't matter. Because honestly, no. My ex-boss was terrible with this. Because he would literally just be rude. Because I do change his mind every 2 minutes. So it was kind of impossible to do something right in his eyes. And then when he like offered criticism, it wasn't ever just like, oh yeah, no, but it didn't work, or like, I don't think we should do it this way because, you know, reason X, Y, Z, whatever. He kind of went to insults and everything, and then turned around and was like, yeah, but it's never meant personally. We're just talking about the thing here. Like, I'm just talking about the work. You can't really go around calling your like employees like stupid or like start throwing out random insults and then be like, no, but I'm just talking about the work. I never mean anything personally. And especially if you have had people like that in your life, it's kind of hard to just view it as like neutral criticism, because you will have people say it's neutral criticism when it's really not, but they're just gonna debuff it or like try to deflect it and be like, no, but I don't mean it personally. I never mean anything personally. You're really not. So that just makes it harder, because now when someone even just like sounds harsh, even if they are just like stating the facts, it can kind of be hard to take that apart and be like, yeah, no, you are actually just like giving neutral criticism. It's not easy, not gonna lie. So yes, I will maybe sometimes take things personally even when they're not meant that way. You know, get out of my way. I spent too much time outside today and I can no longer contain my autism. Imagine you're like stuck at work and people are like, hey, do you want to go someplace after work? No. I'm not going to be able to contain my autism that long. I cannot. Or be like, hey, do you want to come to this thing this evening? But you already were working that day. Even if you get home and you then leave again to go to that place? No. Just no. Not happening. I'm sorry. No. Highly sensitive to anything that suggests I didn't try hard enough. You have no idea how much effort I put into everything. Just because my effort and output doesn't always seem equal to others, they have no idea how much I have to force my brain into action. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like, it's very difficult to just be like, yeah, no, but we can just expect the same out of everyone. That's not really how people work in general, but especially for someone with like hidden disabilities, really, like autism and ADHD, because it's not like super apparent when you first look at someone. Makes this more difficult because you can't just like look at someone from the outside and be like, oh, you're not trying at all. You know? But people like doing that because it's like, oh no, it's just a matter of concentration. You just have to focus a little bit more and then you're gonna do better. I swear to God, I'm gonna lose my shit one of these days at work when someone says this, because They didn't just like say this to me specifically, they just kind of said it to the whole department. But still, you know, like that's not really a good way to approach people, especially neurodivergent people, because yeah, things that should be easy and are probably easy to other people aren't necessarily easy for everyone, you know? Sometimes the thoughts in my head get bored and go out for a stroll through my mouth. This is rarely a good thing. Listen, I'm kind of glad. Like, I used to just think I was like super repressed because I couldn't talk a lot of the time, or just like had to literally force myself, and I actually still do, literally have to like force myself to talk. Which seems weird, because all you're seeing of me really is the side where I'm literally sitting here on purpose talking to a camera. Because you don't really see that sometimes it seems easy for me. And sometimes I literally, like, I was meant to film this video yesterday, but I was like, no talking. Cannot talk. And I have to just like postpone the filming. Sometimes a whole day, sometimes just like a few hours to be like, no, no. Because I feel like I can't talk. Because then I know I would just like stumble over words constantly and just be frustrated, you know, so I just postpone it. So I'm more on that side versus the impulsively saying things, but I somehow still manage to sometimes impulsively say things because I was just like doing something else entirely, and my brain just decided that it's a good thing to say the thought out loud immediately without thinking about it because, well, I was debuffed by a hand activity. You know, how a normal person tells a story. Start of story, straight line to end of story. Okay, how I tell a story. Pre-story, prelogue for context, start of story. Too many details, semi-related side story? Wait, no, okay, back to the main story. Okay, wait, something I just now remembered and absolutely have to tell you. Lose the train of thought completely. Wait, what was I talking about? Realize I've been talking too long. Wrap up story and finally get to the point. End of story and then apologize because, well, you just spent so long talking and you took like 5 detours that you didn't meant to take. Like the beginning, like the context was important. The side stories weren't necessarily important, but maybe they were important for context, but then the other person just looks annoyed because they just wanted like, you know, like a normal conversation and just like saying something like back and forth, and then they just annoyed because they like wanted to talk more themselves. Listen. If you don't do this, because if I tell someone, like, or wait, if someone like tells me a story about people I know, then it's okay. Or like if I tell someone a story, and it includes people they already know, it's somehow always less dramatic. Because if I tell like someone about like a story that happened at work, and they don't know my coworkers, so I have to be like, yeah, okay, no, but this person, that's the person that did this really weird thing 3 months ago, you know, I told you about, like, the thing that was, like, so stupid that we were just, like, laughing about it, and then they also, like, always have this habit of doing things really weirdly or whatever, and I have to give you context about these people, because otherwise you have no idea what I'm talking about, and you won't get why it's funny in the first place, or why I'm telling you in the first place. So I have to, you know, but, like, if you know the people, like, if I'm telling you, hey, I ran into someone from an old workplace we shared together, you know, and they were just like saying this thing, then it's fine, and I have to give you less context, obviously. But it somehow always seems to escalate. Because then I'm just like thinking about all the weird things or like things that stick out in my brain that this person did that you don't really know personally. But I just keep remembering things about them and things they maybe did that were just like annoying to me. And I just like go off on a ramble there and I'm just like, wait, that's not really relevant. Let's try to get back to the story. Anyways. And that kind of on a constant basis. I'm sorry, but how do you just tell a story, start to finish, and then just be done with it? Just, how does that work? Really, how does that work? Someone tell me, because I I really don't know. Okay. That was all the memes for today. I somehow thought I had more. Oh well. But I'm pretty sure this video will still be long enough. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the memes. I hope you feel called out too, because I constantly do on this channel. And yeah, I hope you're hydrated, and I'll be back in a few days with my next video.